Well, yeah, player of the match today, match winner, of course, back in August. Liverpool are only the second team all season to come here to the Emirates and stop Arsenal winning in the Premier League. Now, they didn't have a shot on target. The first time that's happened for Liverpool in the Premier League for 16 years. However, when you listen to what Dominic Szoboszlai is saying, is it a step forward? Is it proof again, without some big hitters, that they can compete with the league leaders?
It absolutely is. I mean, first half was definitely Arsenal's on points. Liverpool reversed that in the second half. OK, Arsenal had a late flurry, but Liverpool were the better team in the second half. And I said before the game, you know, when you're champions, when you're great players like they've got, and even though they're underperforming a little bit this season, when you're playing against other great players, when you come to a stage like this, you've got something about you that says we're not going to get embarrassed, that we're not going to get beaten by these today. And the performances of the likes of Konate, Van Dijk, etc., was that of champions, I think. Listen, even if you're the best team in the world coming to the Emirates, a draw is always a good. It's hard to go away from home. It's hard to play against a top team, and I don't care whether you're in flying form or if you're struggling for a result. That's a really good performance from Liverpool. What percentage of that was Arsenal not quite firing on all cylinders?
I think you have to credit Liverpool for their second half performance, but I think for the first half performance, I thought we created enough chances and got the ball in the box on occasions where you have to take those opportunities, because that you're not going to get too many more that we saw in the second half. And I think Liverpool in the second half, they realised, let's keep the ball, let's see what we can do, let's hit them on the break. I think Liverpool had the better chances. But again, I think it's another one for Arsenal to learn about at this stage of the season. I'm quite pleased that in the end they managed it to get a point rather than not get anything, because they're still in pole position. That was a tough game in the second half, simply because I think that you have to be more ruthless in the first half about the chances what you're creating to take, because chances, they change games. And if they score them chances, they don't get nervous in the second half, they don't drop off a bit, they don't give Liverpool the time that they had, they would go for them a little bit more. And I think that's what happened. You have to take those chances what you create in the first half to finish teams off. You've got to be ruthless. And if you don't, the club like Liverpool and a team like Liverpool, they'll bite you.
And in terms of chances, was that just what was missing from Liverpool today? You heard Dominic Szoboszlai say he had a few shots there. They didn't have, like I say, one on target in the whole game. It's just that final ball, that lacking that little bit of quality at times. It was, and it's understandable when you look at, the types of player that are missing. The Mo Salahs, the Isaks, the Ekitiké's. A couple of players, Frimpong, for example, getting in really good positions and just not having that end product. A couple of easy balls, actually. But as we were saying, the closer to the goal you get, the harder it gets, and that's where you start having to make the difference. Let's say lots of players can do frilly skills outside the box and around the halfway line, but as soon as the final ball, the final finish, that's the most important thing in football. Liverpool just lacked that a little bit, but as I say, a fair excuse when you've got all those players that are missing. But overall, I think Arne Slot will be pleased with the performance. Just on your point about the contrasting halves, right? You have a look at the numbers from the first half compared to the second, when Arsenal, obviously, as Michael said, had the better of the first half. They had more possession. They had those 6 shots. In the second half, they had less shots, 66 possession for Liverpool, and twice as many passes in the final third. What was the reason for Arsenal in that second half, do you feel? Couldn't quite get a grip of the game?
I didn't think, like the closing down initially to get to Liverpool, I didn't think that happened. I think as soon as Liverpool got the ball, kind of dropped off, and just, then Liverpool go across, see if they could pass it through, then they try and win it back then and try to break. I didn't think that was working very well for us. Thought maybe the substitutions could have been a little bit earlier to get a little bit more energy. Would like to have seen Jesus earlier, maybe Noni Madueke a little bit earlier to get a little bit more pace, a little bit more buzz, a little bit more zip into the game. I thought that came, and we saw a little bit with Noni Madueke, but by then, I think that the second half, what we showed was a team finish it, and you could feel nerves. I think there was a little bit of nerves. I thought that there was a little bit of let's just be careful here. Let's not lose this now. And I think that what we've got to have there, I think the attitude we've got to have is we've got to be, we're going to win this. And then if we don't win it, okay, we'll take that. But we can't be safe. I thought we felt a little bit safe and nervous there.
Do you think Liverpool sensed that in the stadium as longer that second half went on?
A little bit, and they grew in confidence as well. As soon as you start knocking a few balls around, then you start growing into it and thinking, hang on a minute, we can get something here. I think from Arsenal's point of view, they're a very efficient side. They're not going to blow anybody away. They're not like a Manchester City that can beat somebody 5 or 6-0, or a Liverpool, when they were absolutely flying a year or two ago. I think Arsenal are based on a really good goalkeeper, really good defence, efficient midfield. I think it's a very, very solid team that are going to win games 1-0, 2-0, 3-0 maybe. But they don't blast you away with dozens and dozens of chances, but they look so. I mean, it's very, very difficult to beat them. They're so good at the back. They're so solid. They're so well drilled. It's hard to create chances against Arsenal. I think you saw an efficient display from Arsenal, and if they could have nicked a goal, they could have nicked a goal in the last few seconds. I'm sure we'll go on to see that set piece, and that wouldn't have been typical. That would have been unfair to Arsenal to say that. But that's what they're a very efficient team. You never feel as if they're flustered or under pressure. Whereas obviously, the teams that have won the league over the recent years have been, very good attacking it. They might concede. Liverpool concede a lot of goals, even when they're winning leagues and whatever, but they were just a real expansive team, where I think Arsenal are a bit more efficient, and it was important for them not to lose today.
I would say, though, Mike, what with those teams that you mentioned, they've got a striker that can, in those moments, Mick, you know what it's like when the game's tight. You can see you're not going to get many chances like you saw against a Liverpool, and you do need. That's what we thought we bought. And that's what you need, because if we're going to talk about the balls that went across the goal all the way through, when you're paying that kind of money, you want something. They've got to be there, and that's what makes the difference in games like this. Because the first half we created enough for us to get something. It didn't happen because we didn't have someone to take the chance, and we done that And then the second half, you get more and more nervous because of everything what's encapsulating with what Arsenal are trying to do. It's all. Everybody's worried about it, and you could feel it. You could feel them getting deeper and deeper. And we can't do that. We've got to go for it. We've got to make sure we take these chances and finish games off a little bit more comfortably than we are at the minute.
As Michael says, though, when you go to the final stages of the game, the final seconds, we know their threat from set pieces. We know their numbers. Joint most goals from corners this season. Should Gabriel have done more with this, right?
Of course he should. Well, I don't want to tell Gabriel he's done so much for us in respect of winning games for us and what he's done for us this season, but I'm thinking that's got to go back across the goal. I think he's missed the whole thing. You can see them on the line and they can't believe it, because that would have been it. That would have been maybe the chance, a set piece. But it wasn't good technique from him in the end there. But I'm not going to dig Gabriel out for the amount of points he's got for us this season.
Yeah, it was a big chance, and as I say, I mean, Arsenal play to their strengths. They're very, very strong, very organised. They're good at set pieces. That would have been a killer for Liverpool to have conceded late on. But they're an efficient machine, Arsenal, and I can't see them slipping up too much. I mean, a bad result for them is pretty much a 0-0 draw, because, as I say, they're so good at the back. They're so strong and well drilled that that's going to carry them, I feel, to the title this season. It's even though Liverpool played well, not sure did you say a minute ago they didn't even have a shot
on target for the first time in 16 years in the Premier League.
I mean, and Liverpool, played well, attacked really well in the second half, but any of their efforts really were long range. They were free kicks, they were long range shots, and it just shows you how really good and how hard they are to play against Arsenal. Indeed.
That is a concern for Liverpool, and of course for poor Conor Bradley, who's been so unfortunate with injury. Some fairly strong words there from Arne Slot. The incident was just down to our right hand side here with the challenge on the Northern Ireland International, and then the reaction from Gabriel Martinelli. What did you make of this, Michael?
Well, first of all, it does look a nasty one. There looks like there's a roll of the ankle there, and he's in some pain. You see him tapping the floor. It's an awkward one, because 9 times out of 10 players can go down and can stay down. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with Arne Slot there. Frimpong stayed down when he thought there was a penalty early in the first, and there was no way he was hurt there, but he stayed down. I don't necessarily agree with that. However, that's poor. Throwing the ball at him to start with, and then pretending that you are concerned by patting him and saying, "Oh, are you okay?" and then sticking your knee in him and trying to push him off, and then using your arms to push him off. That's not good. And obviously it's made worse by the fact that it could be a serious injury. And as I say, 9 times out of 10, it's okay to do that. People play acting, people are wasting time, whatever. But there was no reason for Liverpool to waste time at the minute. They were having a good second half. And the outcome of it, if Conor Bradley is seriously injured, it's not a good look for Martinelli. Not at all.
Can you understand why the Liverpool players were incensed there?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm sure, I know Gabriel Martinelli, and I know that he's not a mean-spirited person. The fact is, he's probably the latter stage of the game, feels like they're under pressure, trying to win the game. Last stages, that's out of order. Absolutely, there's no excuse for that. And you can see now, you can start to see that he looks like he's in pain. So that don't look good on his point of view. And again, look from his point of view, he's thinking that he's gone down, the game's over nearly, and he's wasting time. That's what he's thinking. Has he taken that from the fact that Frimpong was doing it in the first half? I don't know, but there's no excuse for that. I can't really say anything other than he probably thought it wasn't as injured as he was.
Yeah.
And how much do you feel for Conor Bradley? Because it seems just when he gets in the Liverpool team, when he gets a run in the Liverpool team, something like that happens to him.
Yeah. And it's not like a repetition of the same injury all the time, is it? It's different injuries.
Yeah. Well, let me just give you this stat. His longest run of consecutive starts in his Premier League career is 8.
Wow.
And not so long ago, I was reading numbers, maybe only about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and someone told me that he's actually been injured about 50% of the time. He's not been available for selection in about 50% of games in the last 2 years. For somebody that's very young, that's not a great stat, obviously. And it's the reason why when Trent Alexander-Arnold left, Liverpool didn't just sit back and think, right, Conor Bradley's our right back. They had to go and get cover because of that injury. Then came in. Ironically, he got injured as well, and we've seen Endo play there. We've been seeing Szoboszlai, we've been Curtis Jones, we've been Gomez. There's lots of different stand-in right backs.
Does that make this, what Arne Slot thinks is a serious injury, even more of a worry now going forward? Because it's been a problem position with all those players you've just listed having to play there.
Of course. So they have got cover. As I say, Frimpong's back playing now. He might have to revert to right back if Conor Bradley's injury is as bad as we first fear. Then they've got other people that can play out a position, let's say. However, it's not good, obviously, being young and getting injured so many times. I know, I felt it myself. It's the most frustrating, horrible thing in the world. I know people think, oh, you paid for this, you paid for that. It's... When you're 8 years old, when you're 10 years old, when you're 12 years old, you don't think of money, you don't think of anything else other than this. Playing against Arsenal, playing in these big games. You just want to play football. All the fame, everything else comes with it. Fantastic. But the main thing you want to do is kick a ball around with your mates. And it's so heartbreaking when that gets taken away from you. A bit of bad luck, whatever it might be. And it's happened again, sadly.
You could see the way he was trying to clear that ball. It was an awkward kind of turn what he done on his, you could see it, and you can almost see the way he kicked the ball out. When you watch him, he's there, you could see that Gabriel Martinelli, he actually wasn't looking at him, so he wouldn't have seen how he's gone down. So all that, again, I don't even like seeing it, all that's happening, but he's not seen that, because as soon as I saw that, the way he went down trying to clear it, he wasn't in contact with anybody. So I'm thinking, you know what I mean, he's done something there, and that's not good. It doesn't look good. I'm really sorry to see that. Hopefully it's not too bad for him.
Yeah, we keep our fingers crossed for Conor Bradley. So he didn't finish the game, but in the first half, ironically, he was the closest to breaking the deadlock with this situation that happened.
Great play from him, wasn't it?
It was.
Really good play.
Liverpool did this a couple of times, right, as well. Played out from the back, really nice 1-2 touch football. Breaking quite quickly. I mean, it was Arsenal's first half, no question about it, but it was a nice move, and then the ball breaks back to Bradley. We were just debating, you were saying maybe if you go a little bit higher, take a bit of the pace off further into the corner.
Kind of tried to curl it over towards the post because it's gone so straight. Look, it's
flat, isn't it?
Yeah, it's flat. It just needed a little bit of like that loop towards the post. But like, he's a defender. He's only scored one goal for Liverpool, but it's a great effort from him. But like, it's just got too much pace on it.
And with less pace, Timber may get back. I'm not sure, but I mean, it was a great effort. Great effort. His through ball was pretty average, actually. It should have been a better one to Frimpong. But when the ball came back to him, he did pretty much everything right.
Just a quick one on what Arne Slot was saying there about trying to break teams down who who defend deep and sit behind the ball, it's a problem. He gets a bit spiky when he's asked about it, Arne Slot, but he's just admitted it is an issue. They have work to do there in terms of that.
But it is the hardest thing to do, of course, when you're counter-attacking. When you're playing against less people, let's say, then it's obviously easy. There's more space. When you're playing against a deep defence that are defending in numbers, there's no space in behind. It takes a little bit of craft. It takes width. It takes a Wirtz to be in those pockets, and that's probably what they bought him for, to be good in those tight spaces. And an early goal then opens things up. The longer it goes, the harder it becomes. Long-range shooting as well. You become a little bit desperate. That's what Liverpool have ended up doing a little bit today. But yeah, low blocks will always be difficult to score against. That's why people do it. That's why people come here to the Emirates and play against Arsenal, and a lot of the time they do it themselves.
The thing about it is the player that they had, what was brilliant in that, just Luis Diaz. So if you're not going to replace like for like for the low block, then you're probably going to end up with games like that, because you look at Frimpong, unbelievable pace, he gets down there, but his end product seems to be something that he's lacking at the moment. But like, you get rid of a Luis Diaz who can open teams up with a low block, with his skill, his trickery, and you lose that and you don't replace that, then you are going to have a problem.
Well, Dom, you said in an interview before this match, we go there as defending champions. Did you show tonight that's exactly what you are? Firstly, with the way you competed in the first half, and then with your quality, second half.
I think yes. It's a little bit weird because I said it what I said, but I meant it in a way that nobody's offended.
I don't think anyone was, but yeah.
Yeah, no. Just made it clear. No, we faced an unbelievable team, but I think we showed again today that why we became champions last season, and yeah, now this was a step forward, I think, after the recent weeks, and yeah, we showed again that even against a team who is top of the table, we can compete, and that's we take it with us for the next weeks, and we move on.
Was your first half performance mainly about fight and resilience, qualities like that?
I think it's always about fight, to be honest, because in the Premier League you have to fight to get results, and I think today each of us, everybody showed that we are able to do it, and from now on nobody can say we are not, so we have to, like in the team, so we have to keep on going and work as hard every week as we did today.
So having suffered a bit in the first half, how did you peg them back and pen them in the way you did second half? You controlled almost all of that second 45.
Yeah, I think in the first half also we had a couple of chances, and also we managed to keep the ball a couple of times, but of course it's not easy to play here against such a great team, but I think none of the teams like to run against the ball in the Premier League, especially when two teams plays who has such a big quality. So in the first half we tried to keep the ball as much as we could, and the second half the same. I think in the second half was a little bit more than in the first half. Hardly created chances, but I think if I have a better day, then I have a couple of better shots.
I was just coming to that, because you had a couple. I think you had 5 shots in the second half. At one point, you were the only player in the whole on the pitch who'd had a shot in the second half, and a couple of those free kicks. Just watching from the sideline, felt like we could have another Anfield moment. Obviously, you scored the free kick back in August.
Yeah, no, it looks like I still have to practice even more, and also about my shooting. But yeah, they defended well, and we take the 1 point.
Can I just ask you what you made of what happened at the end? I saw that you were right there. Conor Bradley obviously went down injured. Martinelli trying to roll him off the pitch. What did you make of that? Did that anger you as Liverpool players?
I see that Conor twisted his knee. I don't know what is going on with him, and obviously he didn't want to come back to the pitch for to make it time wasting or something. He just had so much pain that he couldn't even think where he rolled, and then you come there to push him off the pitch. I understand that you want to win, we want to win as well, but I think the health of a player is much more important than something else.
Thank you for answering that. You weren't quite able to get the goal to go with your performance, but nonetheless, player of the match.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Thank you.